Hello, hello, it's Bree with the BS in the Afternoon right here on Hits 105.5. And our next guest is someone that doesn't need an introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyways. As a seasoned actor, writer, producer, and stand-up comedian, Paul Reiser continues to add to his list of accomplishments. In addition to co-creating and starring on the critically acclaimed NBC series Mad About You, which garnered him Emmy, Golden Globe, American Comedy Award, and Screen Actors Guild nominations for Best Actor in Comedy Series, his success also includes a couple books that he sold over 2 million copies and reached the #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. And so did his follow-up book, which is super cool. But let's not talk about that. I'm throwing it away. How are you, Paul?
Wow, I thought you'd never get back to me.
I know.
The whole bio. Nice to talk to you, Bree. Thanks for having me on.
I'm super excited to have you on. I'm a huge Mad About You fan. My favorite episode is the virtual reality episode. And so when we actually got the new, what would you call it, the actual virtual reality games came out, I had to have one. And I said that I was hell and hot.
Yes, we were light years ahead of our time with that. It was so clunky. That was 30 years ago. But we were that was a very fun episode. I'm glad you liked that. Well, yes, I got. If I'm not mistaken, my fantasy wish was that I got a massage from Christy Brinkley, as I recall.
Yeah.
That was where my brain went to in 1993.
That's perfect. I absolutely love that. So, you have been up to a lot of things, and I'm just so excited to ask you a ton of questions. Can I ask?
Go.
Can I just go?
Ask anything. If I know the answer, I will tell you.
Okay, so I guess I'll start at the beginning. So, what made you go into acting?
I just wanted to disappoint my parents. That was the goal. If I said, what can I do that would feel like they've thrown it all away, all the education, all the input, and acting was the way to go. You know what? Here's the truth, Bree. I didn't plan to be an actor. My goal was to be a comedian, which was also not any parent's dream, as you can imagine. But my goal was to do stand-up, and then I kind of got a really lucky break, and I got into the movie Diner in 1982, way before you were born, and that led to everything else that followed, truly. So stand-up was always my goal. And so now I'm getting to finally get back. I took many years off of not performing, but now I'm finally getting back to do it. And which, by the way, I'm going to be in your neighborhood April 13th.
Yes, I'm super excited about it.
At the Arbogast Performing Arts Center. One show only. Very excited.
Yes. The Arbogast Performing Arts Center is absolutely beautiful. And you can get tickets at paulreiser.com, which I was just on the website, so I could book me some tickets.
Yay.
That's very exciting.
I heard it was a beautiful theater. I try to not play dumps. Get me a beautiful performing arts center. And it's new, right? It's a relatively new venue.
Yeah.
Very excited. So tell me what else. What other burning questions can I answer for you?
I have questions about your comedy, but I will start, like I said, you've played so many different types of movies in different roles. What was your favorite type of role to play?
That's an interesting question. To me, it's usually who you get to play with, and that makes it the most fun. So I got to do many years of playing with Helen Hunt on Mad About You, and that was a treat. And then I got one of my favorite roles. I wrote a movie 15 years ago, so I guess, and almost 20 years ago, and it was called The Thing About My Folks. And it was with Peter Falk, who you don't know, but he was on Columbo. He was a very big star. And he was the only actor when I was growing up that I idolized. I just loved that guy. So I wrote this movie so I could get to play with him. And then we did, and it was a dream. So that was, not just because I loved him, but when you get to play, it's like you want to play tennis with somebody better than you, which works out for you, but not the other player. So getting to play with opposite Peter Falk was a treat.
That sounds really cool. And you're right, I do not know who that is.
Oh, my God. How old are you? Can I ask, Bree, how old are you?
I'm 34. And
you don't know who... You ever see Columbo?
No.
You heard of Columbo?
No, I haven't.
You're 34, so you were born in, 90-something?
89.
'89. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when we're done, look up Peter Falk, Falk, and educate yourself and catch up with me.
I will, and
Okay.
then I'll know. I'll be able to feel those vibes, because that was one of my questions. Is who was the biggest star that you have worked with that you were starstruck?
Well, on Mad About You, we had sort of unbelievable treat that we got to work with so many people that we grew up idolizing. Probably the biggest of all, or most impactful for me, was Mel Brooks. Do you know who Mel Brooks is?
I
Bree?
do.
Oh, thank God. That was going to break my heart. So Mel Brooks, I totally grew up listening his movies, but his comedy records, The 2,000-Year-Old Man, which you're going to have to look up also, was sort of a turning point in my life. I was 15, and somebody turned me on to those records he did with Carl Reiner. Look him up. And they sort of changed my life. So most comedians and writers all idolized it, Mel Brooks. So when he came on to play my uncle on Mad About You, we were all just sort of tripping over ourselves, and the audience was packed that night, and we got to watch Mel Brooks just rip the place up and improvise, and that was a pretty special time.
That sounds like it. That's awesome. And so let's talk about your comedy. You're a stand-up comedian, and you taped a stand-up comedy special, and we don't have a release date. Is that true?
No, I don't have a release date either. We're talking to a couple of different platforms right now, waiting to see who jumps the highest. So I'll let you know as soon as I know. But yes, I taped that in November, and will hopefully come out sometime probably this summer.
Oh, that's awesome.
As will Beverly Hills Cop 4, which is on Netflix, when that'll be out. And now I'm in that, and Eddie Murphy is in that as well, as you might imagine. And what I did, Bree, because I'm such a generous guy, I gave Eddie Murphy the bigger part, and I took a very small part. You know why? Because that's the kind of person I am. And he did very well with it. I have to say, Eddie Murphy is very, very funny with the role that I elected to give him.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
So I'm assuming he's fun to work with. I absolutely, definitely know who Eddie Murphy is.
Oh, okay. You're scaring me. Because you know what? His heyday might have been, you can argue, was years ago. You might have missed that, too. But I'm glad you're up to date with the Eddie Murphy.
Yes, I love Eddie Murphy. He's a good one.
Yeah, he's as good as you can be.
Yeah. So let's talk about your show in Troy on
Yes.
April 13th. And so what's your favorite kind of comedy?
Funny comedy. I hate not funny comedy. Love funny comedy. So here's what I'm going to tell you, Bree. For those, many people have already bought tickets, but there are some who have not, and there are still a couple of empty chairs. So here's what I say. If you go online, go to paulreiser.com, get a ticket for April 13th at the Arbogast Performing Arts Center, and here is my guarantee. If you come to the show, and at the end of the show, you didn't have the best time of your life and you're not completely satisfied, I will come back a year from now and take you to see somebody funnier. Come on. How many guys will give you that kind of guarantee? So you can't lose, is what I'm saying. Come to the show and see for yourself.
Okay. I think that's a great idea and a good advice to give anyone that wants to see the show. I definitely think you're hilarious, so I know it won't disappoint.
Bree thinks I'm hilarious, so there you go, folks. What more do you need to know? It's me and Bree so far. The rest of you will have to come down and see for yourself. But it should be a fun night. I'm very looking forward to this beautiful theater and being in beautiful Troy. I've never been in Troy. It's going to be a thrill.
It's very beautiful there, so that's for sure. You'll enjoy it.
Okay. And you're going to be there?
Yep, I'm going to be there for sure.
Are you going to bring your mother?
No, I'll stick with my boyfriend.
All right. Well, come and say hello.
I definitely will.
Okay.
All right. And
tell your mother thanks for watching the show and for raising you relatively well.
I will. There's something to be said about someone that raises their kid on Paul Reiser.
You know what? Most of them turn out okay. I'm happy to say. So yes. So it's worked well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one more question for you, and I'll let you go for the rest of the day.
Okay.
So what's it like being Paul Reiser?
Oh, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, Bree. Because you know what? The minute I wake up, I'm already me.
Yeah.
And so the clock is ticking. So it's fun. I like being me. I've never been anyone else, so I can't compare it, and I wouldn't recommend this for others. But for me, it seems to work out because I'm exactly like me, and we like the same things. So it's worked out well so far.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I've got a lot of comedians that come on the show, and they're like, all I do is sleep and eat potato chips. Do you have any advice for them?
But you gotta vary the routine. You can't eat potato chips and sleep all day.
Yeah.
You have to do other things, and then as a treat, you get a potato chip, and then you fall asleep. So it's a cycle. It's a cycle.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you for being on the show.
I agree. Thank you. Nice talking to you, and I'll see you in Troy on April 13th.
Yep, and you can get tickets at paulreiser.com. Thank you, Paul.
See you there.
Bye-bye.